Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I'd like to thank the member for Dubbo for letting me have the next slot. Mr Speaker, the Greens, I rise to speak on behalf of the Greens on the Crimes, Domestic and Personal Violence and Other Legislation Amendment Bill 2024 and indicate that we are supportive of this legislation. We believe it's positive and sensible, and indeed in our party room this morning it was made clear by our spokesperson in the other place, Abigail Boyd, MLC, that she couldn't find anything that was problematic for us. Which doesn't always happen. But I would like to say that whilst we welcome the tightening up of laws that can prevent and reduce these heinous crimes, mostly against women, it is the pointy end, and we know that. It is very much the pointy end, and without the services in the community, the women's advisory services, domestic violence support services, and indeed we argue that for police to have adequate training and support, and we also need interagency approaches. Without those things, and also I will add education, it was very pleasing to hear from the Minister for Education just before the coercive control laws came into effect, talking about that in schools, consent education, and a whole raft of, I think, new policy direction in terms of our schools, public schools. All of that is the prevention side, and we know that we absolutely cannot drop the ball on that. Because you can have these incredibly strident laws, but these particular offenders seem to have no regard whatsoever for the rule of law. So it does give me pause to consider, as we escalate the law, the penalties, the consequences, and widen criminal law, just what does that tell us? And as someone interested in philosophy of law, I think it tells us that we're at the wrong end, and we really need this government to, and we were discussing it today, we need, it can't be piecemeal. We can't be talking about services in community in a piecemeal manner. We need to actually map the whole lot. We need to really go hard on accountability for any NGO or community group that's offering support, but we just need the funding, we need recurrent funding, and we need to know what's out there. I want to give a shout out, Mr Speaker, to all of the advocates in my electorate, in the Ballina electorate. I'm not going to name them all, there's a lot, but our community absolutely says no to domestic and personal violence. So we welcome these laws. I'm not proposing to go through the black letter law in great detail, except to say that we understand that there's 2 new aggravated offences. I'm particularly interested in the civil protection order scheme because whilst we don't really support that in terms of that approach to criminal law, we think that it is actually very sensible in this area of the law, because what we have seen recently and tragically is friends, extended family members, a very wide circle of horror, violence and revenge that is being enacted on people in the circle around often the woman. And so, whilst I'm not a big fan of charging someone before they've actually done something, we can see that we're in this area of heinous crimes that has not really served us very well, because of course these offenders are hell-bent on what they're planning to do. Mr Speaker, we also wanted to put on the record that so whilst we think this is sensible, that with the Domestic Abuse Prevention Order Scheme and that threshold, we'll be very interested to see how the courts will consider that. The threshold for convictions is that the person must have had at least 2 convictions for domestic violent offences with a maximum penalty of 7 years or more, which includes coercive control, reckless GBH and strangulation. In relation to the charges, the threshold will be where a person has been charged, and regardless of whether the person has been tried, acquitted or convicted. So that is something that we will really be following in terms of law reform. And I think, Mr. Speaker, it also goes to the heart as well for me of that, and as the member for Orange indicated, and what we know in the backstory behind the tragic murder of Molly Ticehurst is that she was actually being supported. She had a lot of these, she was being supported by the Stay-at-Home Leaving Violence program. And unfortunately, that program failed her. That program failed her because she, and I was pleased to hear speakers on the other side talking about that we need to believe women, because a woman who has a violent partner absolutely knows in every part of her body when things are escalating. And I know that the police struggle at times with what they're confronted with, very complex situations when they are attending these calls. But that program failed her because she indicated that her partner was on the loose and out to get her. And unfortunately, in the time that it took to get the extra security, she was murdered. So it's so important that we do not lose sight that these laws, so first of all, how long they're going to take to come into effect, to make sure that we support our police and indeed all of the domestic violence abuse support services in the community so they're aware of it, they understand how it works, and then for women themselves, because this isn't information that's easy to digest, to understand their rights. And so as local members, we will be the ones that will be supporting members of our community, and we also need to understand how these orders can be made. But the message is that persistent breaches, that plans to hurt women and others in our community simply will not be tolerated. And Mr. Speaker, I also share the member for Orange's appreciation of the teasing out of the definition of stalking. That is incredibly welcome that that's now being modernised. And we've seen, it's even just, with family members telling me about the online dating scene, so many young women are giving their phone numbers and they don't realise just how easy it is for someone to identify them and then indeed to start stalking them. And that's strangers, let alone someone in your life who is using these very sophisticated methods of technology to track them and hunt them down, basically. So, Mr. Speaker, we also welcome the provisions around changing a child's name and then the servicing of AVOs. We also know that Domestic Violence New South Wales are supportive. All the key stakeholders are supporting it. There was some concerns raised by legal groups, again, which I share in principle about prevention order schemes, but the context is very clear that we believe that the severity, the statistics. Statistics are awful when you consider that the loss of one life cannot really be measured at all, but when we do hear these statistics, it gives us great pause, and we think that these incredibly concerning times require this level of response. We support the bill.